LeBlanc, your host with White Labs, an e-commerce marketing agency. Today's guest is Lucy. Lucy, feel free to introduce yourself and let our viewers know a little bit more about your background.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me on. So, my name's Lucy. I'm based in the UK. I own a brand called Bearkind, which has just had its 6th birthday yesterday, actually. So, I've been running the business for 6 years. We sell bamboo socks that save endangered animals. So, 10% of the profits are donated to the animal on the sock. We sell through Shopify, predominantly a B2C business, but we've also gone in the last few years quite heavy into B2B as well through various wholesale marketplaces. Just started going to trade shows as well. And we're stocked in about 1,000 retailers around the world now.
Awesome. How did you get into the sock industry?
I have no background in it whatsoever. I am learning on the job. So I used to work for a bank. So I have no kind of experience in the industry, in fashion, in e-com. And I just wanted to start up a brand really that gave a little back to the planet. I love animals. And so I started with turtle socks. And so I wanted to do a product that donated to animal conservation. And I happened to start with socks. And people seem to like it and ask me, okay, what animal's next? We want to see an orangutan, we want to see a penguin. And it's kind of grown and grown and grown. And now I have a sock company on my hands. It was never planned. As I said, I have no experience in it. But I guess now I have about 6 years experience in it because I've been doing it myself.
That's awesome. Who is your ideal target audience?
We tend to say we imagine people's mums. So we tend to see, because it's such a good gifting product. So 70% of our revenue comes in Q4. We're so heavily skewed towards Christmas.
Okay.
So the people who are in charge of buying gifts for the whole family, which tends to be people's mums, not always the case, but it's a lot, my own mum is the kind of what I'm modeling our customer base on. But that could also be kind of younger women that are buying as well. So our end users are all kinds of people, but it's the people that are buying the gifts. That's who we're aiming our product at.
Awesome. Do you only sell in the UK or US as well? Or?
Yeah, we're worldwide, but we've only got a fulfillment warehouse in the UK at the moment. So the shipping barrier means it's harder for us to kind of breach into America. So until we've got a warehouse there or a kind of more sustainable cost base, we haven't spent marketing budget on America or elsewhere yet. But we've got a few retailers and stockists, so it's trickling, but we haven't gone heavy in other countries yet.
Awesome. Well, you've touched on this a little bit. What makes you different or better than your competitors?
Yeah, I think it definitely is the kind of animal angle where we've got this profit donation, because we've baked it into our business model as well. So there are a lot of companies that will do there's 1% for the planet and various other schemes that are about donating a proportion of your profits to charity, which is great, amazing. But we've done it the other way around. That it's literally the reason for our product existing. It's the business model. And we've done it in a way that is very specific. So every single sock has its own charity mostly. So orangutan socks, Orangutan Foundation, turtle socks, Turtle Foundation. It's very specific. We've got about 30 different conservation partners now. So rather than just one, it's okay, well, if you're really into flamingos, it's, I'm wearing flamingos today, that's why I mentioned them. Then it's supporting flamingos in the Galapagos Islands. So it's very specific in that way. And that's very hard to copy that because it's a lot of work, because I have to have contracts with all of these charities. That's 30 plus different charity relationships that I have to manage. So we're more unique in that way.
Gotcha. Well, being a brand for 6 years now, congrats. What are some challenges that you faced throughout the journey and how did you overcome them?
I think a standard one is cash flow as a product business. It's real tough, especially because we're so seasonal. So we'll have an amazing amount of growth around Christmas and we're sitting pretty and we're like, yay, everything's going well. And then after Christmas, we're like, oh, we've got to kind of recover and make sure we maintain our cash flow through the year because we have staff to pay. And at Christmas, it's amazing, but throughout the year, it's very tricky to manage. And a few things we've done to overcome that are things like, that's why we went into B2B so heavy. So really getting our wholesale base into a good position because they're a very consistent revenue stream for us. They tend to be buying throughout the year more than our B2C customers. It's, gift shops, podiatrists, gift shops at zoos, anything to do with animals, even clothing boutiques. Because they've got footfall kind of year round, the product sells quite well in person, where it's harder for us to get out there. We're still not a super well-known brand yet. So until we've got a very consistent month-to-month revenue base, we're still kind of reliant on the B2B to help us get through that kind of seasonal cash flow.
Gotcha. What are your best-selling socks?
UK animals, actually. So things like hedgehogs, badgers, foxes, bees, also puffins, which are Scottish birds that everyone seems to love. That's one of our best-selling socks. But there are some other more international animals that are very, very popular. You wouldn't be surprised at them, like sloths,
Cool.
giraffes, elephants. Yeah. So there's kind of the usual suspects are definitely in there. And I think we actually hired someone. We hired a merchandiser to look at our product range and tell us if there was a pattern to what type of sock we're bringing out, colors, animals. Is there a pattern to what's selling well and what we need to double down on? And they categorically said, no, there's not really a pattern. There's just certain animals that people seem to love. There's certain colors that seem to do quite well. Like we have badgers that were in like a blue and a pink, and then we actually changed the color to browns to be a bit more seasonal, a bit more autumny, and they have flown off the shelves compared to brown and pink. So it's which we're still trying to figure out if there's a pattern behind the color and all of that, but there's definitely animals that are obviously people's favorites.
What are your favorites?
I like all the bunny rabbit ones. I've got my own rescue bunny rabbit. So, we have some rabbit socks. We've recently bought out some hare socks as well. So the rabbits are for rescue rabbits. The hares are actually wild animals. So they're my favorite ones. They're not the best sellers, but they're still my favorites.
That's all good. What are some successful activities you've done to promote the brand in the last 6 years?
Yeah, so we actually did some radio ads in the UK, a bit more of a traditional form of marketing. Facebook ads have always been our go-to digital marketing option that has always worked consistently well for us, apart from that blip in 2021 with iOS and all of that jazz. But we did some radio ads that did really well for us. It was just an opportunity that we got through someone we knew at the time. So we wouldn't normally have that opportunity, but it worked well for us. I'd say it worked well because we were consistently on the radio throughout Christmas season. So the first few ads, it's not going to do anything. You have to be consistently heard, and it just ramped up and up and up. And also because it was Christmas, so it was very, very timely. So I'd say if you're thinking about doing something like that, make sure it's within your right audience and the right time of year for you. If you're a seasonal brand, so that did really well. And then just the B2B side of things. So we do very, very well through a wholesale marketplace called Fair. And so they're American brands, but they launched in the UK 3 years ago, and we're a bit of an early adopter on the platform, and we absolutely flew. And we're one of the biggest sock brands in Europe on that platform. We're not the biggest sock brand in Europe generally, but on that platform we are, because we've had such big growth. And as a result of that, we've actually started teaching other brands how to grow on wholesale marketplaces. So we've started a YouTube channel called Candid Founders, and it just gives advice on okay, well, we've done really well on Fair, how? And we just share advice about that because it's been an amazing avenue for us. And now we've just started moving into in-person trade shows as well. So we've kind of done it back to front. A lot of brands might have done in-person trade shows first and then thought, okay, maybe there's something in the digital ones, but we've done it the opposite way around.
Great. So what is the future plan for yourself and Bearkind?
I really want to grow this to a really big business, but I want to keep it in the family. So I run this business with my partner. He is CEO. We took a small amount of investment a few years ago from my university, actually, about £50,000. And we had to do that because we had supplier bills to pay. So this whole cash flow thing, we needed that money. But ideally, I don't want to take further investment. I don't want to kind of shoot to the moon and then exit. I want it to be a really good business, a family run business, but really, really grow it. Maybe we'll change our mind and exit eventually, but in 10 years plus. And I think that a few ways that we're going to do that is, I would really like to grow in America and get a warehouse out there. I'd also like to do so in Australia. My partner's Australian, so from a personal point of view, we'd really like to grow in that market. It's a much smaller market compared to the UK and America, but from a personal point of view, I think that would be awesome to be able to do that. So there's definite geographical expansion there. I always get asked, would you do other products with the same charity model? And actually, no, not right now. I think it would be very hard on us cash flow, but we're doing really well in socks. I've got a list as long as my arm of different animals we need to add to socks. So we've kind of made a name for ourselves in the sock industry, and I think there's still a lot more for us to do in that space.
You get a lot of requests of animals that you don't have.
So many, and then more colors, and but minimums are really high. We're up to 1,000 pairs per design. So every design we have to bring out, that's
Yeah.
1,000, that's a big investment for us. So we have to be quite considered with which animals we're doing next. Have we got a charity for them? Do we need to get a new charity? Like, do we think it's going to sell? We also get quite niche requests for those kind of weird and wonderful animals. And in the best case scenario, I would love to do every single animal on the sock, but we also have to think strategically, like, is this going to sell?
Makes total sense. What advice could you give aspiring entrepreneurs looking to start an e-commerce brand?
Yeah, so if you haven't started, like, I really, really started from nothing. Like, I started with drop shipping. I didn't even start with the socks just to start. Like, I had a few other products that I experimented with before. And so it's really when you have an idea, the hardest thing is actually starting it. The hardest thing is thinking, I have an idea. How does that translate to, if someone's looking at me, they say, how does that translate to the business you're running now? It doesn't. At 6 years gap between you and me. So you need to think of it as like, what are those small initial steps? And just start with that. Start an Instagram account. Look at starting a Shopify account. It's really cheap. Like, just, get an MVP and, test it with your friends. Like, do the small steps. I think it's really easy to look at these businesses that are 6, 10, 20 years ahead of you and be like, that's what I want. But there are so many small steps that you don't see in the background that have led to us getting here. So kind of start with the small things, because otherwise you'll just get overwhelmed looking at thinking, how do I make my idea into this 6-figure, 7-figure business? Like, it doesn't just happen just overnight. So just try and do the small things and just experiment.
It's amazing advice.
Good.
So is there anything I haven't asked you that you want our listeners to know about yourself and Bearkind?
No, I mean, I already covered the YouTube channel. So I guess it's just, please do connect with me. I'm Lucy Jeffrey on LinkedIn, and Bearkind on Instagram. Bearkind.com is the website, but also find us on YouTube. Come and say hi, Candid Founders. It's all free advice on like how to grow a product business on wholesale marketplaces. There's other business advice on there. So yeah, come check us out, say hi. We're doing that just out of, trying to, share what we've learned, really. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys.
Perfect, Lucy. Thank you so much for coming on the White Pot. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. See ya.
Definitely.